We are live on YouTube. I'm Chris Badgett from Lifter LMS, and I'm joined by Abdo Riani from Startup Circle. How are you doing, Abdo?
Doing good, Chris. Thank you for hosting this session, and I'm looking forward to talk about creating courses that convert today.
Absolutely. So Abdo and I have been working on something called Heal Your Sick Course, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first, we wanted to really kind of dive into the problems that we see a lot of course creators have. And for me, quite frankly, as a education technology, software CEO, software creator, I just don't like seeing so many people fail more than I would like to. I mean, failure is natural. Certain people don't make the cut or the tryouts or whatever, but far too many course creators fail. And, it's not one thing's job. Like, it's not just the technology's job, or it's not just the expert's fault, or it's not just the email list's fault, or there's so many like variables at play that I wanted to do something to help with the problem. And Abdo approached me with this idea. And yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Abdo, where do we want to go with this conversation here on our YouTube live? And by the way, if you are watching on YouTube, we want your comments. We've got 4 people jumping in right now. Smash that like button for one, but also this is meant to be interactive, not just a we present to you kind of thing. So if you have questions, I'm going to be keeping my eye on the chat in the comments below this video. So be typing there so that we can see how you're responding. And, we want to serve you in this call and not just provide some good content. So take it away, Abdo.
Sure, Chris. So you mentioned challenges, you mentioned failure, and what I see most, I guess what I want us to discuss and focus on is the things that anyone can control. There are things like you mentioned earlier that are, you just come all of a sudden and you have to deal with that problem whenever it comes on your plate. But there are things that you can control. There are things that are, kind of basic that anyone can do, experienced or not, that can help them create successful courses that solve people's problems. And today we want to talk about this foundation, right? You mentioned and you focus on the 5 hats, and you talk about how, as a course creator, you need to be a good educator. You need to have the basics of technology taken care of. You need to have an audience. You need to have that entrepreneurial spirit. But let's start with this, Chris. You have launched many courses in the past. You have witnessed hundreds, if not thousands, of people create courses. Some made it, some didn't. If you had to start a course from scratch today, if you had to start something brand new, what are the first things you do, and what are the first things you want to avoid doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. The very first things I would do is not go buy software, go shopping for any kind of tools. Knowing the audience or the community that you want to serve. I actually have this whole thing I can talk about, like what's the difference between building an audience and building a community. And there's what you want to do is you want to build a community and you want to engage in existing communities. Audience building or list building is important, but it's not as powerful as building community. So you need to really get clear on who you're serving, what problems they're solving, how they're talking about it. Maybe they don't even realize they have a problem. Like what else is going on in their life? Like, what are the symptoms of the problem? And then if you want to serve that need and help those people, the very first thing I would do is connect with those people. And I would do a very light, some people call it an MVP, minimum viable product. Some people call it a pilot. Some people call it like a beta course or something. But I would do some kind of validation is not just like, can I sell it? What's even more important than can I sell it is, can I get results for these people through the internet predominantly? Most people watching this are interested in this, are looking at creating online-based training programs and courses and memberships and things. So it's one thing to be able to sell it. It's another to be able to get results for people. And then it's another thing to be able to communicate about it in the first place and connect with people. So validation is not just about putting up a sales page and a buy now button. But that's the very first thing that I would do is focus on the steps that are required to get me to the starting line of a validation exercise. And at the very beginning of that, you have to put on the expert hat and get through some inner game stuff like, who am I to create this course? People have these like imposter syndrome, or even the opposite, like fear of success. What if it goes really well? Do I want to be known as the person that does blah, 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 whatever it is? Who do I really want to serve? Am I just in this for the money, or am I, what passion or cause or, type of person do I want to devote all this time and energy to? Those are fundamental building blocks. Those are the places I would start.
Yeah. But in reality also, Chris, sometimes we obsess about asking so many questions and trying to find perfect answers, convincing answers to all of those questions that we just feel overwhelmed and end up sometimes taking no steps at all, making no progress. So one of the things I've learned over the years is there are things that you have to think about, but most of the time, the rest you will figure out as you are taking action, as you're getting your hands dirty. So to answer my own question, what are the first things I would do if I wanted to launch a course today? Paul Graham, startup founder and investor, once said, you'd rather have 10 people that love you than 100 people that kind of like you. You'd rather have 100 people that love you than 1,000 people that kind of like you. So what I would do is find those 10 people, find those first 20 people that care, that really need what I am proposing, that want the desired outcome, and that are willing to not only do the work, but spend some time to share their feedback with me, to give me their comments, and to help me build a better course. So the first thing I would do is find a list of people or group of people with like-minded, course creators or students, whether it's online or offline. It doesn't have to necessarily be just on Facebook or Slack or on Instagram. I found great results from interacting with my ideal customers at local chambers of commerce or at student organizations or anywhere I can find, that group, and go and have conversations with them. One of the things I have learned to do over the years that have made my job a lot easier in the community building part or aspect of launching and growing my courses is to kind of try to quantify how many conversations I need to have to get to the group that I need for me to launch this course successfully or to grow this course to the next phase. And one of the things I learned is that I need X number of meetings or X number of conversations for me to achieve X number of, students. And that over time has helped me kind of track, my progress, quantify my progress to achieving my next goal, my next milestone, whether it's the next 20 students, the next $5,000 or $10,000 in course revenue, or is it the next 100 students, and so on and so forth. So to summarize, I guess the first step, Chris, we both agree, and I think many other course creators agree, is to build a community, big or small, of people that really love what you're doing, that need what you are offering, and they're not only willing to take the course, but also take it, do something with it, and provide you with the feedback that you need to take your course to another level and help hundreds, if not tens of thousands of other students all over the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the statement, like you got to move slow to move fast. Like you got to lay the foundation first before you start like getting really busy, getting all this technology and building all these things and filming all these things. There's some fundamental building blocks you got to get in place first.
And, you talked about, technology is not that important in the beginning. And a lot of people, spend so much time, a lot of course creators, especially first-time course creators, spend so much time on researching the best tools, on researching the best, recording equipment, the best camera, spend so much time on the editing, spend so much time on the recording, spend so much time creating those funnels, thinking and hoping, I guess the word is hoping here, that whatever they're going to create, whatever they're doing right now is going to help them kind of skip stages, go from idea to scalability. When in reality, it's not how it works. You got to get your hands dirty before you can create a repeatable and scalable business model, a scalable course that can allow you to reach thousands of people without you not necessarily needing to teach 1,000 one student at a time. But first, forget about the technology, forget about the tools, forget about the funnels, and get the job done. Getting the job done is helping one student accomplish a desired outcome. Figure out what that desired outcome is for the student, not what you hope the student wants to accomplish. So figure out what the desired outcome for the student is after having those conversations. And that's why the community building comes first. Those conversations come first, and then just get the job done. It could be through Zoom calls. It could be by gathering people from your local community in a classroom one afternoon and helping them go from knowing one thing to knowing a lot more things so that they can accomplish a specific goal. That is going to serve as your proof. That is going to serve as your feedback. And that is going to serve as your first ambassadors that can help you reach 10 more people, 100 more people by sharing, by promoting, by building a network effect, by turning that network effect into a snowball effect with when they share in social media and get others to know about you. Those are the first steps. Honestly, even if you are, you have already proven your concept, your course, even if you've gotten to a point where, some strangers are buying your course without you really being involved in the sales process, taking the course to the next milestone also involves those first steps as well. Obviously, you'll do them with less work and more predictability because you've already gained so much insights and you have so much data that you can base your next steps on. But, the idea is you start perhaps 100% manual and 0% automated. You go to the next stage where you do 80% manual work and 20% automation. You start implementing some automation, some technology to help you, get some repetitive tasks done without you necessarily doing them every single time. The third step, I go 50-50. Now that I have, proof that my course works, that the way I'm delivering my course works as well, I want to, take care of the part that needs the most time and the most involvement, and the rest I'll automate. And then progressively, 6, 8, 9 months later, you get to a point where everything is automated, whether it's the frequently asked questions, whether it's the community part, whether it's the Q&A part, whether it's the videos, whatever you want to automate, you will automate eventually. But first, you have to build it on stronger foundations. And that takes some patience. There's no such thing as overnight success. Really, those who claim that they're sending 2-3 emails and generating, 6 figures, look at the early stages of their, journey. Look at the first course they created. That didn't happen. At first, that won't happen most of the time, 100% of the time. And even if it did happen, Chris, you'll realize that those people have built some credibility in one space or industry for decades, built a lot of credibility, built a big audience, built authority, and then, you launch your course, you have people waiting for you, but you already spent the time to do it. If you're starting from scratch, do things that don't scale, take it one step at a time, make it simpler for yourself. Forget about the technology, which just sometimes can be complicated, time consuming, expensive. First, do things, the simple ways. Have a Zoom link, have a Zoom account, or go to your, nearest chamber of commerce or any entrepreneurial or organization. and start having conversations. Use social media groups, build authority in the group. It doesn't take that long to share value and be remembered. Perhaps a week, 2 weeks of daily sharing and daily commenting, and then start gathering feedback by getting people to have a conversation with you. Once you have those first 10 conversations, you're going to realize that one person is going to be like, all right, can I learn more? Or can you do it for me? Or can I, take a course where you're explaining all of that? And that's when you're going to build, how you're going to build the first 10 or 100 people that love you, instead of trying to promote to the crowd and get people that are kind of interested, but not, in love with what you're offering.
That was awesome. There's a link down below this video. So Abdo and I are putting together a program called Heal Your Sick course. We're bringing in 8 other experts to help you get unstuck. And the type of things we're talking about here is just like an example. Like, it's one of those things where like one good idea that you pick up, even from this free YouTube live here, could save you like tons of money and tons of time and tons of like heartache and mistakes. So go check that out. And we're also pricing that to not break the bank. It's meant to be approachable. There is a price tag for it. This isn't your usual virtual summit that's free, and where we're building an email list. The priority here is helping you get unstuck and helping you get the best ideas and feedback about your personal situation of what's not quite working out for you as a course creator. Because like Abdo said, like if I was going to go to the minimum stack, if I was going to do a course project, the only technology you need is a way to invoice somebody, which could be PayPal or a FreshBooks, Stripe, whatever, just some way to like collect money, and then a Zoom account. And I mean, maybe that's it. And you need to be able to communicate with them, your offer. So that's like the minimum stack. But people come in and they go shopping, and they try to start a project with scaling things. Like, you don't need to build your affiliate program until you have a proven offer that's working. The worst thing you can do to not ruin your reputation, but it just doesn't go well if you get a bunch of people to promote and it's not really validated or whatever. It's you're using scaling when you need to be focusing on the core, and not automating too early is automating too early is a classic mistake. Do it raw, spend your time, have nothing but a screen between you and the other person, which is a lot, but it's not a video. When you make video lessons, you are automating that conversation. And it's a lot more powerful when it's just raw and like either one-on-one. You can also do it one-to-many. You can do like a beta program of like 3 or 10 or 20 people and move them all through together through your process. And also, as an expert, this is one of the expert problems, is a lot of us they say like when you're inside the bottle, you can't read the label or whatever. You may have all this expertise and wisdom, and maybe you got this result in your own life, but how good of a teacher are you really? Like, being a teacher, that's one of the hats. It's very different to be a skilled person versus being an educator helping somebody else get the skill. If you look at a classic working person's life in traditional work environments, typically when somebody does really good at the skill, they get promoted to be the manager, but they didn't have management training or leadership training. And it's like this whole moment where people got to figure all that out. It's like a whole new skill set. That's the same thing happens when people bring their skills online and step in to lead and build a business around that. So by doing it live and having that feedback loop open where people can interact with you, ask questions about what's not clear, you're more in touch with the results they're getting or not getting based on your training, that helps you become a much better teacher.
Chris, I take courses. I'm sure you take courses every now and then. And let me ask you this. When you took your last course, what made you choose one person over another person?
It's a couple factors. And I actually learned this framework from somebody. His name was Frank Bria. I heard him say it on an interview I did with him. But he said there's 3 reasons that people don't buy from you. Number 1 is they don't trust you. Number 2 is they don't trust your product. And number 3 is they don't trust themselves. So if you think about a course, like when I buy a course, I need to trust the person. There's a lot of people I trust that I wouldn't necessarily buy their product. I don't trust the product, or I'm not the target market for the product or whatever. So these 3 things have to line up. So when I buy a course, I have to know, like, and trust the person or the people behind the product. And then I have to believe in the program, which you do by showing the process and making it clear what you get and how it works and all the support systems that are going to be in place. And then you need to help me overcome my objections of, like, I don't know if I can do this. This sounds like a big claim of what I'm going to get if I do this course and do the work. I don't know if nobody's going to admit to that, but rest assured, in their conscious mind and subconscious mind, they're thinking about that. So yeah, that's when I buy a program. I mean, I'm aware of this like kind of psychology. So I observe it in myself, but those 3 things need to line up.
So you mentioned trust 3 times here, Chris, and I can guarantee you that anyone can create a course maybe even better than the people that have shown to be the best at them. But why do people buy from them and no others? It's because they trust them. And if you are going to market and trying to hit the crowd with a massive Facebook campaign or a massive, perhaps, partnership campaign where you have the money to advertise in Google AdWords, you are burning a stage, a very, very important stage, which is the trust building stage. Chris, very glad you answered by, trusting your product, trusting yourself, and trusting the outcome of the course. In your first stages, the first year, your job is to build trust, with your target group. And through that target group, you're going to build trust with the people that trust them. And that's why, if you believe that a fancy landing page is the solution, if you believe that a fancy funnel is the solution, if you believe that a fancy high quality video is the solution, it isn't. It's really you having those countless conversations with your ideal customers so that they can trust you and speak about you so others can trust you. This is one of the reason why I wanted to mention this is because it's one of the other reasons why starting by interacting with the community, by building a community and forgetting about the tech is extremely important, especially in the beginning, Chris. Building trust with 100 people and that same idea applies is better than having 1,000 people kind of know you. They know that you're doing this, and they know that you exist. That you have a course about topic X, Y, and Z. What you want is 100 people that really trust you, take your course, get results from it, because that's how you're gonna 10x it, to the next 1,000 people, and from there, that's how you're gonna 10x it to the next 10,000 people. So focus on building trust, and the way you build trust is by forgetting about the technology and listing the groups, whether it's online or offline, where your target customers hang out, and investing time to go and have those conversations and build relationships with the members of those community. And with that, you're going to be able to scale progressively. But keep in mind, Chris, here that creating the tech, the videos, the funnels, those are things that take so much time and energy. Even if you are an expert at them, you still need to take the time to do them. And typically take, for a 10, 20-hour course can take you 3 months, can take you sometimes 5 months. Wouldn't you rather, go to market in 2 weeks, start making money soon, investing some of the gains to implement in a little bit of automation, a little bit of technology, and by the time you're in the 5th or 6th month, or you've already made a good amount of money and have learned so much about your ideal customers and what they need, and how you can deliver your information, that's a much wiser and better approach. And that's, how you can alleviate your risk. That's how you can make money very soon. And that's how you can scale on stronger foundation.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Besides the tech, Chris, what other things that you have seen starting course creators obsess about when they can, put aside and yet make good progress, especially in the beginning?
So one of the 5 hats is the entrepreneur hat, and one of the things that entrepreneurs do is they build businesses and they do marketing. And I kind of see often in the online course space 2 types of people in general that kind of come in wanting to build a course. One of them is more like teacher expert heavy and doesn't really have a background in business or online business or marketing and tech and whatever. Or it's like the other side where somebody who is kind of marketing heavy, entrepreneurship heavy, and they want to monetize and figure out what course to make. So there's kind of 2 different ways about it, but I wanted to speak to the people that don't come from a business background or perhaps haven't run an online company or built a website before and don't really understand marketing, or perhaps think that it is like this evil, dirty thing they have to do or something like that. That is a place where I see a lot of people get hung up. It's a couple things. It's people getting distracted by marketing tactics, and all this, like you're talking about, like funnel building or automating things, and fancy like selling strategies with all these upsells and cross sells and scarcities and countdown timers and everything. It gets like crazy land, especially to someone who's new and they're just getting into the online business world and they think they need all these things to be successful. And then there's also that inner work of like, just to sell as human. Marketing is just a part of communication and doing business. It's not that big of a deal, but people make it a big deal. Mm-hmm. So I like to help people just kind of get over themselves and come to the fundamentals of what marketing is, which is communication and an exchange and a communication around value. And if we're in the very beginning, and let's say I would much rather like commit to a 6-week live, like, so this is my challenge to you watching this. If you were to, instead of like spending all this money on tech and gear and video, if you were going to create a 6-week course that was nothing but 6 weekly calls, let's say an hour of content followed by an hour of Q&A with your group. Let's say that was 20 people and that was $1,000 program. You have some kind of result that you can get for people that's worth $1,000. So let's say in the best case, you get a $20,000 launch. You take 20 people through this process on these 6 calls and the Q&As. And, perhaps you bring in some like supporting PDFs and things like that, but that's version 1 of your course. And that's it. That's a full validation exercise. But at the very beginning of that, with our entrepreneur hat on, our marketing hat, we have to sell the $1,000. We have to communicate the value. And it's not about making money on the internet or making money online or doing a product launch. It's about, and it's not just copywriting, it's about coming up with your offer. A lot of people, what they have a hard time articulating what their course is actually about and who it's for. But really, in a couple of paragraphs, you should be able to have like your, name your course or name your program, and then then you have your elevator pitch. If I help this type of person avoid, get through this problem, achieve this result through this method in this amount of time, here are the components of like what we're going to do and how I'm going to support you during these 6 weeks. This is how much it costs. And you just come up with that offer. And if you've done the legwork with your community building hat on, and you have some people in online groups that you that are in your target audience, and you also have personal relationships of somebody that you might be a good fit for your program, or maybe you do a little bit of outbound sales and if you help this type of person and you can find them online and fill out their contact form on their website or whatever, that's all it is. That's all. Like, marketing doesn't have to be more complicated than coming up with the offer and communicating it effectively to your community. And that's validation. Can you communicate it? Can you sell it? And can you get ideally all 20 of those people that result? And then you've got 20 grand in your pocket. Now it's time to start talking about scaling and automation and like, how can we do this? How can we play bigger?
Chris, I think nowadays the technology has become so overwhelming that the personal touch has become a competitive advantage. You know, in other words, some people would pay extra if they're going to get the course creator to teach them live, answer the questions live, instead of them watching the course videos, submitting their questions, waiting a couple hours or a couple days, getting the answers back, talking to other community members, getting, you know, different answers. So if you believe that you are lacking behind, if you're not leveraging technology to automate most of the tasks, you know, it's in my opinion, it's the other way around. Actually, by doing things like that, things that don't scale, that's what we refer to them as, you're actually being different. You're actually able to, in my opinion, charge even more because you are teaching the person, answering the questions live, and helping them on the spot without them needing to post their questions, although they can, and that's an extra thing. One of the other things, Chris, you mentioned is selling the desired outcome of the course. You know, a lot of people sell information. Maybe their course is selling an objective or selling a result if you were to take it, but they're not communicating well enough to explain what will the student get from taking the course. I don't want to take a course just to learn about something. I can I can Google something and I can learn about it. I want to accomplish a specific result, a measurable result from taking the course, whether it's, 5 hours later or 5 modules later or 2 modules later, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. The length, in my opinion, does not matter as long as I can accomplish a specific result. So the Heal Your Sick Course Summit or week-long mastermind, one of the things we're doing is exactly what we're mentioning right now. Forgetting about the technology. We're doing everything live. We could have recorded those sessions. We could have brought those experts. We could have edited those videos. We could have created a fancy, landing page, website, material and everything like that, but we didn't. You and I had a conversation. We said, Chris, we want to help course creators starting or growing to get unstuck, to get their existing course to the next big milestone. How do we do it? What is the simplest way to do it? Let's do it live. All we need is Zoom. We just need to get those experts involved, and we did, in addition to our involvement in helping course creators. And let's just use Zoom to host those sessions. So this is another example to show you that even after creating so many scalable courses in my journey myself as a course creator and an entrepreneur, I still leverage the same idea, the same approach, to go to market quickly, to deliver the value, to get user feedback. And then, we will turn it into an evergreen product, correct? So Same idea is happening live. Same idea is what we're doing for the Heal Your Sick Course Summit. And what we're going to do is, in our case, we have divided those sessions into different categories, whether it's the expert hat, whether it's the teaching hat, the entrepreneurial hat, the community building hat, so that you as a course creator can get to ask people who have made a ton of mistakes, wasted a ton of money, invested a lot of time and energy, so that you can so they can shortcut your path to your next big milestone within those 5 days. 5 days of live sessions 10 plus sessions that we're going to host March 11th until March 15th.
So that's 2 weeks away from right now.
Exactly 2 weeks away from now, Monday the 11th at 12 p.m. Central Time or 10 p.m. Pacific Time is going to be the first session. It's going to be an hour to an hour and a half long live session like this. You get to unmute the microphone, ask your questions, ask multiple questions, ask follow-up questions so that you can get personalized guidance to move your course idea or existing course forward. Every day is going to have 2 sessions from Monday until Friday. And the goal, in other words, what will happen 5 days later is that you're going to have a plan, a clear, actionable plan with clear steps that you can execute on to move your idea, whether it's, just an idea at the moment and haven't done anything yet, but want to create a course, or an existing course that has sold to a few students and you're looking to take it to another stage, whether it's the first 100 or 1,000 students. You're going to have a clear plan to action that you can implement on after the week of March 11th.
Yeah, and this is affordable. This isn't about having a high-end, premium price tag here. There's a link below this video to go to the page that, has more detail and the buttons on there to buy it. But we're only selling this for $99. And if you buy it before the start date, you can get it for half off. Early adopter, $50. So what would you pay for access to 10 experts who can help you as a course creator to get direct feedback? It's a no-brainer price. And, they're going to come with a little bit of presentation, a little bit of material, but this is mostly about you and your specific questions about your specific situation. And if you can't, it's a big commitment. I know it's from March 11th to 15th, 2 sessions, 2-hour sessions each day during the week, Monday through Friday. And if you can't come to all of them, that's fine. But I would encourage you to come to at least some of them live, because it's about your feedback. Of course, we're going to record it, and those sessions are going to be available for you inside of a course as a lesson that you can watch later. But if you're going to do it, come live. I would encourage you to come live and, squeeze the lemon, like get the most out of it that you can. This is about taking action. It's about getting unstuck. And you're going to get a lot of good ideas. And I'm sure some of it will feel like, whoa, that's a lot there. But it's just one of those things that like one good idea might just be a total game changer for you. So, and hopefully we've even done that a little bit on this call here. Maybe something about validation and not focusing on certain things too early, technology, or not trying to scale or automate too early. It's little things like that can have a dramatic impact. And we're just doing this in 30 minutes on a YouTube live like this. And that's just me and Abdo. There's going to be 8 other people, and we're going to be announcing the guest list soon for who those other speakers are going to be. So go check out that page. You can get there at, let me give you the link right there. It's academy.lifterlms.com/heal. And if you're watching this on the move or just listening, just go to lifterlms.com, click on courses at the top, and then you'll find the Heal Your Sick course program that you can sign up for.
Those are going to be 10 coaching sessions, Chris. Some of those experts that we're bringing on, charge hundreds of dollars for an hour call, coaching call. So think about this as, a 10-hour, 10,000 plus coaching, conversations for just $50. And just like Chris mentioned, chances are you might not be able to make every single one of them for the entire period. And that is fine. If you can make it and want to make a specific session, email us at team@lifterlms.com. We will take your questions. We will take your specific course idea or current standing of your course, and we will ask questions on your behalf, whether you asked all the questions that you need to ask or not. We'll look at your situation, we'll look at your course, and we will represent you and get you answers. Again, those sessions are going to be recorded. So after the live sessions, you're going to have access to the recording so that you can, take notes perhaps, or, go to the parts where you wanted to learn a little more about your specific questions. Looking forward to seeing you live. It's going to be in exactly 2 weeks, March 11th. It's $50. There's 50% off for the early bird access from now until March 10th, I would say. And we look forward to contributing to the success of your journey as an entrepreneur and a course creator.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing the live with me, Abdel. And you that's watching, click the link below, check it out. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.